Hi and welcome back to the Restoration Shack. Apologies for the mess, but it's always going to be like this. So I thought before we get started on the Mobo chopper, we've had a few parts that have come in, so I thought I'd just go through what we've got and then you can see where we're heading. So for the seat, I've had some dense foam delivered, so we're going to kind of double that up, make the banana seat cushioning on the chopper, on the Mobo chopper, and then kind of went through a few thoughts. Do I go black, white, silver on the seat? And I thought, you know what, I've just kind of gone with a kind of tan, so it's kind of orangey tan, so it's basically going to match or kind of hopefully accent the frame. So we'll see what that looks like. If it looks rubbish, well, I can redo it with a different colour, but probably black would have been better as a neutral, but I just wanted to do something a bit different to see how we go. So I've had, I think, some metre square something of this delivered, so we'll get that on. Put that on in a bit. I've also had a load of parts delivered. So we've got outer brake cable, the brake cable ends, so they basically sit on the outer cable just to neat them up once you've cut them. Little crimps for the end of the cables themselves, and then a set, or quite a few, of the barrel ended cables, various lengths. I think I've got 1 and 2 metre lengths, so you can do front and rears. Just waiting on some gear cable, which has kind of got, instead of having the bullet end, sorry, the barrel ends has got, I think I call them bullet ends, but they're actually, the other ones of these are actually called pear ends, because they look like a pear. So we're waiting for them to come in so I can finish. Got some more bits. And then for the vintage bike that we didn't know what it was, turned out, if you've seen it, it turned out to be a Halford's sports bike. It took some time to get some reasonably priced tubes and tyres. The size of them are 26 by 1 1/4, but it also seems like that's similar, or it's an eighth different to 26 by 1 3/8, so that would equate to just over a quarter. I think that 2/8 would be a quarter. So basically managed to find some decent priced ones with a better valve on it. Instead of having the woods, it's got I think they're Schrader valve on them. I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, it's either Press or Schrader. I think they're Schrader. So I've got a couple of those. They've come in decent off eBay, so I've got those. But the tyres were ridiculous, so as I was looking around, I was looking at paying maybe £30 for a pair of tyres. Actually scoured Facebook and managed to come up, I found a real bargain. So these are Kenda 26 by 1 1/4. They've got a stamp on there. So I've actually thought I was buying one. It turned out 2 came, so I paid £5 for 2 tyres. So that is a real steal. I think it was about £2 something delivery in the UK. So sometimes, yeah, you can still get decent bargains on Facebook Marketplace. There's still some to be had. So really happy. Got a pair of those with the decent tread. Well, they're brand new, so the nice tread on them. Amazon tread pattern, so they should be good, along with the tubes and all the bits. So we'll get that done. So I think what we'll do next, since we're talking 1,000 miles an hour, is we'll clear up. I'll bring you back and we'll start trying to cover this seat. I've not done one of these before. It looks relatively simple, so we'll just hit and miss it. You know, we'll hopefully achieve a good result on it. If not, we'll just redo it. But yeah, I'll bring you back in a minute. Right, so I've got the seat base, which you may remember if you've seen the previous video, is a 2-part. So you'll cover this piece, fold it inside, and then as you clamp that together, it traps it all in there. So we've got the 2 pieces. We've got a piece of beading which fits around. See if I can put that on, actually, might as well. So I think this stops the cloth getting torn or cut by the sharp edge of the steel on this seat pan. So you basically just drop that on like that. It, and then as we wrap it over, it'll stop it cutting the cutting through. I've got my material at my vinyl top, which you've just seen, and then we've got our foam. So what I'm probably going to do is, I'll just put that to one side for a minute, on a sharp Stanley knife, is I'm going to do a cover or a piece of foam in the middle, and then I'm going to do a piece that goes over that, so basically get a double thickness on the pad, so that should then stop it, take some of the hardness out of the base. Let's see how we're going to do that. So I think, because this foam's not massive, I think what I'm probably better off doing, it's going to be a bit of a fudge, but is cut a piece of foam big enough to go over the top, and then the offcuts, because they'll be going underneath, I may put some spray adhesive if you just kind of basically stick them underneath, but they'll hold in place with the upper foam. So I think what I'll do is lay that over like that. Now I'm not going to come and lip it over the top because I think that'll just be too thick, so I'm just going to go down to the sides. I just want to make sure I've got all areas. Yeah, got it covered. So then let's have a look. So it's a bit of a learning curve as I go, but I think if I trim that like that, and then I lay it over, oops, slipped, and then make sure it's pushed down, and then lay it over, so you can't see that, so I'll rotate it. And if I go round this side, without taking my hands off, knife through there like that, we should, in theory, end up with the seat saddle shape. And then I'll see what we've got left to do the other parts. So that roughly will make, I tidied up before I put it on, but that will roughly make the top. I think I'll just neaten that up a little. So that's our top, so it doesn't have to be mega because it's going to be hidden anyway. And what I need to do is get a piece that sits just on the top. So I think what we'll do is we'll put that like that. Turn that over. Align it up at one side and then just knife it at an angle like that. Hopefully. Bring it in, try not to cut my hands off. That's made the shape, so then I can just cut. I say there's probably upholsterers out there watching this screaming at going, you're doing that wrong, why are you doing it like that? But hey, we're not professional, we're just having a go. And then if I trim that piece, now I'm short at the back, but I'm just going to put an infill there. I'm just going to get a rough shape. Probably what I'll do is actually put an edge on it like that. Just so when you put the other foam over the top, it kind of shapes over it. Rubbish. So what I'm probably going to do is cut this a bit further, just so I've got a little wedge on the back there. So I think what we'll do is we'll cut that off. And the reason for that is I don't want just a little piece on the end because that's just going to float about. So what I'll do is I'll make an end for that. sure there's much better ways of doing this, but it's only a bit of fun. I'll shape that. Okay, so you get, shift this over. So hopefully you can see kind of what I've tried to do there, just for the first piece. I'm probably just tidy this up a little bit just to, so it doesn't totally shape that down a little bit. But that's the first piece. Then the big piece, which I didn't think about, is I've done a template and cut it and not taken into consideration this, so that's the first error. When I lay that foam over it, it's going to probably run a bit short because I've got an additional what's that, inch of foam. You live and learn, don't you, as I say. But we'll see. As I say, as I pull it down, I should be able to compress it and do it so it's not so bad. But lesson learned, don't cut that until you've done the first piece because you'll be short. Hey ho. Let's see how bad I've done that then. See how far short I am. To be honest, that's not too bad. That's going to be far worse. So I'll put that over. Can't really do it there. So I'm going to have to probably trap the vinyl. But basically, looking at that, it's not too bad, and it's quite a lot of padding in there. In fact, actually looking at this, I might have to trim some off still. So I think I got away with that. Even on the back, it was quite good. So I'll just strip that back a little bit. Don't know if some spray adhesive might be better just to hold this in place. So otherwise I'm going to be fighting it with the vinyl. But I think what I'll do is I'll probably look at maybe trapping the vinyl. Might just have to have a think how I do it, because I don't know if I can trap it between that. It may just be a case of fighting it and then pulling it over and then trying to get the lower section in, and try and fight it, you know, hold it and clamp it with that. But we'll have a look, have a little think about that. So I think what we'll do is put a bit of cloth down just to keep the vinyl clean. Oops. So this was left over from the T5 camper that I did, and we redid all the interior on that. So I carpeted all the walls and ceiling in this. It's like a four-way, it's called four-way stretch, so you basically can do contours on it, and it does quite a good job. So let's have a look. Luckily we've got plenty of this, so if I mess up on it, I can always have another flash at it. What I'll do is make sure I've got absolutely plenty. Yep. So I'll half this, and if it makes a mess, I've got enough to have another go. So this wasn't too dear either, I think it was probably less than £10 for it. So spare piece in case we mess up. Hopefully we won't need that, we'll be able to do another light covering that sometime later. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to put a little bit of spray adhesive on to hold the foam in, just so I'm not having to fight it quite so much. It does make it messy for the next person, but I'm not intending to recover again, so we'll do that. So I'll bring you back in a minute. Right, so Don't know what brand it is, but this was just something that came with the kit for the T5, Volkswagen T5, so just had some, seemed to have some left over. So basically you spray both sides, so this and the underside of the foam, leave it for a minute or so to cure or start going tacky, and then stick them on and they go. So I'll just do it off this so I don't get it all over the camera, all over the foam. One side. That's the bits of foam done, and then once we've got them, so we can stick them on now. Yeah, they're good and ready. That's that on. You can see it's pretty well stuck. Didn't take long. So I'll just take this off and spray take this off camera and just spray that both sides so we can get it. So what I've done is I've sprayed all around the side there, all around that side, and then the top of the foam. Make sure, I suppose a safety warning is make sure you use this in a well ventilated area. It is quite pungent. I do know this from experience. When I was inside the van, it was raining, so I shut the doors and windows for a bit, and yeah, there's some good effects, or bad effects should we say, if you're inhaling that. So yeah, I ended up after about 20 minutes having to come out the van, having inhaled some fumes off that. So not advisable, not condoned. That's better. So just trying to level it off. Actually, might have left that bit much to one side. Ugh, don't really want to be peeling it and sticking it again, but quick. So then that's quite a good pad as well on there. That you can't feel the metal through the bottom, and the corners is not too bad. On the 8-ball lowriders that I do, the foam padding on those is ridiculous. You can basically feel every single contour of the seat, and after about 20 minutes it's very uncomfortable to ride. So hopefully now this should be better. And then we've got the back there. I've left the holes around the holes there for the seat mounts. I might just trim that one a little bit, because obviously we want to be able to still get the sissy bar seat bolts through. So I'll just trim that out. One. Like I say, there's probably professional people out there know how to do this a lot better than I do, but as I say, it's learning. As long as it looks good at the end, I'll be happy. I'm not looking for a professional upholstery finish, but we've got all the bolts that we need. These bits are going to be bent over, so I don't need to bother with those, hiding those. So, on to the fun part then. Let's see what happens with this. I need to make sure I stay away from this edge where it's not been coated. So lay it flat. So we're going to have to pull quite a lot of there's quite a lot of excess on here. So I think what we'll do is we'll probably try and pull it over, trim it, and I might start trying to do some adhesive on the inside. Looks like it has had some, yeah it has. I don't know if you can see in there, it has had some trim adhesive before on there. So that's what I'll do, make it easy for myself, is start at one side, lay it in like that, pull it over, stick it down, and then try and get rid of any creases, and then just basically trim and go around as we go. So I think what we'll do first, let's have a look. I'm quite confident that that can be okay there. Hopefully you can see, just basically starting near one edge, enough to pull over and leave me sort of work in between new and old money, but probably just under an inch or 2.5 centimetres, 2 centimetres worth of trim on there. So just run a bead of trim adhesive in. And some along the top of here. Trying not to get it to work because I don't want to be sitting the vinyl back in the glue, so be aware of that. So you can then see as you pull it over, pull it, you have to get rid of the ridges in it. As I work this vinyl and fabric, should be able to try and get it reasonably flat like that and bring it over. Bit of crease in there, but hopefully that'll pull out. So just let that go off a little bit. Try and work this. What I'm going to do is just let that cure a little bit, because I did do a headline on an old video that I had. Didn't have a clue what I was doing, but I like to have a go at things first and try. And I didn't leave it long enough, and then as I was putting the fabric up, the glue, because I was pressing on it, the glue was coming through the fabric, and it made a real mess. So I think what I'll do is just leave that for a couple of minutes, and then I'll bring you back, and then we'll keep attaching. So even after, I know I've only done about 20 something videos, I still make basic mistakes like not recording when I think I'm recording and recording when I don't think I'm recording. So you've seen just that bit before, I did in high speed, because I'd basically done a bit of talking to show what I was doing, not recorded it, pressed stop, which then started recording while I was just kind of fiddling and cutting things. So hopefully now you can hear me and I'm recording. So you saw me cutting and sticking, So what I've done is I've tried to pleat it the best I can over the back, which I'm quite happy with, to be honest. It's a couple of pleats, it's not too bad. And at the front I've pleated it the same. And looking at low rider covers and bikes, that's pretty much the thing. Then tuck that inside, and as I put the, obviously it's been stuck all the way around, and then as I clamp the base plate on and nail over the tabs, that's kind of locked it in place. So overall, quite happy with that. There's no real baggy areas. The shape of it is good. There's plenty of padding on there for sitting down on. And if you, if you saw the first video, which was just a bit of black cloth draped over it, this is 100% better. So I think what we'll do is, I was going to do this as just a standalone video on how to do a seat covering, but there's millions of people out there doing it, and upholsterers doing it, so you know you're not going to come and see me watch this video to do the seat cover. So what we'll do is we'll get the Mobo chopper on the stand, bolt this on, and we'll try and get it completed. I think the only bit I'll need to do is probably make some brake cables up, yeah, let's get on and let's get moving. So first off, we'll get the chain guard done. So it's been a while since I worked on this one, but if you saw the first one, you've seen, and also a couple of the other videos where I've done some acid bath dipping to clean it up. These were really rusty, in fact a lot of the metal was, but it's come up really well. So that mounts into there like that. Got to remember what order. And then some little screws. I think what I'll end up doing is changing this chain anyway, but I'm just going to run it in now just to mock it up before I bolt this chain guard on. I think what I'll do is I'll change it round and then I can access it. Seat on. One thing I need to do is actually find the holes for the sissy bar to go through. Should have probably made them there. That's one. I'm just going to puncture through the vinyl. There's one. And then the rims, once again, if you saw the stripped down video, they were horrendous, so hopefully you can see now. Once again, I've dipped them, serviced the bearings inside and the axle, etc. The tyre I've not changed. It's not great, but it holds air. The inner tube holds air, and it's not totally blown apart. So I think what we'll do is we'll run it. You know, probably once again, yeah, you should probably put new wheels and tyres on it. But at the end of it, it's just a rebuild project. I'm probably going to sell it, let somebody else enjoy it, and maybe take it to that next level if they want to. back tyres come up the same, back wheel fairly good, still heavily pitted. Both are. The tyres in better condition, some cracking, but once again holds air. I've serviced the rear sprocket and the axle as well, so that's all running free. Let's just give it a... We've got a bit of clanking, which you might be able to hear. There's a bit of clanking on the chain guard. I think that's just because it's distorted a little. I can basically read. There's a bit of chain slack, but I'll take that up when I change the chain. So all I've got on this to do now is put the new brake cables on. Not managed to find a shifter, and the rear hub is a single speed, so to be honest it's going to stay like that for now. But take you off the stand, show you around. There's a brake cable to fit as well, a brake lever to fit. So what I'll probably do is drop them in and then give you a tour of the bike after. So here we are done. I've added, as you can see, I've added the brake cables on, front and rear, they're all done, working. That's it, pretty much done. There's not really much I can do to it to take it any further. It's fully serviced, fully rideable Mobo Cross from the 70s, so thanks for being with me on this one, and I'll catch you on the next project. Cheers, bye.